Good morning. This is Ron Brown. It's September 12th, 2025. I'm going to continue my series on getting the most out of HCS Investor and the files that I've created. And I'm going to be talking more about intraday internals today. As always, remember the market is your teacher, and you're going to see more of that today. So I'll click on this, just look at this laying down here. Any stock index or ETF mentioned in this presentation is not a recommendation to buy or to sell. All trading strategies are used at your own risk. As you can hear, my voice is still a little bit rough, but I'm going to try to get through this. What I want to do is go into the designer, click on industries, go to tools, rebuild indexes and group. This is updating every 5 minutes, so I know the data is current. I just want to get the industry groups sorted out, see where the strength, where the weakness is. Takes about 30 seconds on this computer, which is probably 4 or 5 years old at this point. Okay, now what I want to concentrate on is, and I've touched upon these before, but I want to use them again because it just gives us a good feel for what's going on. I believe I talked about this last time. I put these in the money flow in end of day and intraday based upon the S&P 1500 and also the Nasdaq 100. So I'm going to start here. I'm in my category scans. I'm in category 4 and 4A. And let's just see where we were last night at the market close. Money flow in S&P 1500 end of day. There were 933 stocks that showed money flow in. In other words, the daily range closed above the 50% area. That's what I consider money flowing in. I'm going to click on this. Remember that number 933 compared to only 315 today. So the market is a lot weaker today. It started out pretty strong, but it looks like it's not following through. Let's just go down here to the S&P 500 only. It closed up, or money flow in 388 yesterday. Today, it's only 121. Let's go down here to money flow out as of last night, only 211. Intraday, 847. This is the S&P 1500. On the 500, end of day yesterday, 94 were up. I'm sorry, this 94 were down, and today 361 are down. So you can see the market is appreciably weaker today. This, I think these are very useful. Now, if you want intraday money flow in and out for everything, just go up to 1. There's a lot more in here, but I find this most useful just looking at the S&P. But there are several categories here you can look at and play with and get a feel. Now let's take a look right now at money flow in, 294, money flow out, 847, decidedly negative today. Okay, let's look at the Qs. I've got them in here also. This is money flow in end of day yesterday, 63. Today, 32. Money flow out on the Qs, end of day yesterday, only 36. Money flow out today, 67. So comparing today on the Qs, 63 in, I'm sorry, I want intraday. Qs, 32 in, 67 out. 2-to-1 negative on the stocks that make up the QQQ. Now I'm going to go back up to category 4, money flow in. And remember, I sorted on the industry groups, or I rebuilt the industry groups, and you can see that a lot of these groups are down even on the money flow in. So if I click on the percent money flow in, this immediately shows me that Dell is on top based upon the group, and here's Dell's price, but the group is up 6.27%. Well, let's go down. Let's try to figure out why this stock is only up 1.12%, but the group's up 6.27%. So I'm going to change, go to the industry group, but this is the only one passing this money flow S&P 500. So I have to take this filter off. I'm going to click my sheet. And what that does is it opens it up to the entire computer hardware and storage group. And let's see where the action is. Well, it looks like the quantum computing stocks are moving this up. Here's almost 15%, 12, 460, and so on. That's why we get the big number on the industry group. And so let's go back. So I went back and then I resorted on the industry percentage price change here. You can see Dell is the only one in this group that's showing through on the S&P 500. And I'm just going to leave it on the industry price change. Group sort, it just updated. And I'm on the 500. Let's go to the 1500 intraday. And you can see that Dell is on top of that. But the other stocks are not in the S&P 1500. That's why they're not showing up through here. So I'm going to make this full screen, get rid of this temporarily. Looks like other financial services. These are Bitcoin-related stocks. Aircraft and parts, exploration and production, power generation, utilities, and so on. Sorted on the industry percentage price change. The industries are positive down to this point right here. Out of 309 securities. This market has been consistently strong. I really don't see it breaking down yet as of my early morning analysis, but you can see the internals. While we looked at it, the internals are weaker today. Let's take another look here. Money flow in, 309 in the S&P 1500. Money flow out, 832. Now I'm going to go into the designer here, and I'm going to go to my user money market analysis user groups, and I'm going to go down to major indexes, and I'm going to go to the S&P 1500. And then I'll click through to that, and I'm going to switch categories. I'm just curious. I said, and you know this, that this market's been really strong, but I want to see how this breaks down. So if you go down here to category number 24, these are micro, short, intermediate, and long-term trends. So I'm going to go to trending up, and I'll click on intraday. These should be the same, 20 securities. So this tells me that these stocks in this group, the 3 is above the 6. If you look down here, I'll make this bigger. The 3 is above the 6, but the 6 is not above the 18, and the 18 is not above the 50. So these stocks are just kind of starting out based upon my trends. Okay, so what do we have? We have 20 of those. I'm going to go to the short-term trend. These are stocks where the 3 and the 6 is up, and the 6 and the 18 are also positive. So they're more short-term trends. Going to intermediate. So we're going from 20 on the micro to 53 on the short. Intermediate term, 129. That's where all three histograms are up. I'll just click on this one. These are all positive. Not a very pretty chart, but based upon the criteria of the moving averages, it belongs here. Here's a better looking chart right here. So that's intermediate term trend up 129, a long-term trend up. This is where the 50, the 100, and the 200 are stacked. This would be a long-term, and you can see that only 20 meet this criteria, but the one I'm primarily interested in is the primary uptrend with the fan in place, and you can see 295. So it shows me in the S&P 1500 which of these categories are the strongest. And let's do this again. I'll just do the intraday micro, had 20, short-term had 53, intermediate 129, long-term trend 20. But then when I go to the primary trend, which is a long-term trend, and the 18-day, being above the 18-day where the fan is up, this jumps up to 295 stocks. So that tells me how strong or how this strength is distributed in the S&P 1500 according to my criteria for trends. I'm going to sort them. They're all combo here. And you can see a lot of green here near the top. Here's Tesla. Discoveries. This one jumped up yesterday and I kept moving up. But this is where the strength is, the real strength. And the number is 295. Now let's compare this to, I'm just going to go to the trending down, primary trend down intraday. There's 176 compared to 295. So the market is definitely, or these stands are definitely confirming the positive strength to the upside. Let's go to the primary trend down. And you can see there's a lot of red here on the intraday. On that prox, well, this broke and it rallied up and then it's breaking down. Here's the fan, the 200, the 100, the 50, the 18, the 6, and the 3. Source Foods. Fan down. Now let's go just reverse this. Primary trend up. I looked at Discovery. Oh, let's go down and take a look at Micron. 200, the 100, the 50, the 18, the 6, and the 3. So it's just a quick way to take a group of stocks and go down to these categories, and you can get a feel for the strength. You can get a feel for stocks that are just potentially emerging, just starting up, or you can find the primary trend and discover or confirm long-term strength. Now, this market's grossly overbought. I keep expecting a correction. Hasn't happened yet. But down here within these groups, in the market analysis user groups, I keep these up to date. So let's take a look at the Nasdaq 100 primary trend up, fan up. There's 19. Primary trend down. There's 16. Let's take a look at Lulu. I didn't realize that, wow, this thing's really broken down. Now let's compare that to the primary trend up. Tesla. So Tesla's have been basing up and down for a long time, but it's broken out now. Okay, 200, 150, 18, 6, and 3. Here's the micro trend crossover right here, but the others are already in place. So it's just a way to get a feel for the stronger stocks by applying these categories, using category 24 and looking for micro short up and down. That's all I'm going to show you today. I'm just trying to show you some the versatility of the program, and when my voice gets a little bit better, I'll continue doing these and get down to much more specific ways of prospecting. But I just wanted to give you an overall feel for how you can get a market insight, and then you can also see how the trends line up with any set of indexes that you want to look at. Thanks for listening. Have a good week.